Good evening. Right. I am the founder of Bloodline, and as you can see, today's my talk is about my journey of being called the Blood Man. Every morning, like all of you, I wake up, I brush my teeth, I wash my face, I make a warm cup of tea after a shower, I go out to my balcony, and I look out at the green space, and I hear the chirping of the birds. I feel the very cool autumn breeze on my face. And all these sounds remind me of things, but more so I hear other sounds that a lot of you perhaps don't hear. And it gives me definition. It reminds me why I'm here, my purpose. So, why am I being called a blood man? A few months ago, I was on my way to an invitation by the US consulate. As I entered into the elevator, there was a gentleman in front of me. He looked around, gave me a glance, looked to the front again, and once again looked behind, gave me a glance again, and he said, "You're that blood guy, right?" And I was like, "Yeah, not the name I want to be known by, but apparently I'm being known as the blood guy." And one day, I had taken my daughter to her roller skating classes, and I was very hungry. It was just after my work, so I ran down to a ramen store, and I was gobbling away on the food. Yep. So there were two young girls, ladies that left the store, the restaurant, and then they walked back in again. And they looked at me and gave me a smile and said, "You're that blood guy." So this is the second time in a few months I was being known as a blood guy. And this made me think a lot. And recently, after a string of awards, a lot of people have been sending me pictures because apparently me and my family's pictures and videos are in a lot of public transportation videos, like metro stations, public buses. And we were a little shy going to these metro stations because you see yourself and you feel like, oh. So how did I end up being called a blood man, right? So I took a pause. I sat down and I thought, at this moment, why am I here? What is my purpose in life? Why am I doing things I'm doing now? We're going to take a small break and I'm going to ask you a question. How many in this room have donated blood or know of someone that has donated blood voluntarily? Raise your hands. Wonderful. That's quite a sizable bit. But yes, now we're going to go to the data. An average human being has, in a female, 4 to 5 liters of blood in your body. Whereas for males, it's 5 to 6 liters of blood. That's what you have. It takes 20% of your blood to be lost before you go into hemorrhagic shock. Okay? And as a doctor, I can verify that's not very nice. Shanghai needs 1,800 units of blood every day. Every day. Whereas one person who goes to donate blood can only donate 1 to 2 units of blood at a time. Which means if I had enough blood and I donated blood on a daily basis and I donated a liter of blood every day, which I'm not allowed to, in 1 year, the amount of blood that I've donated, I will sustain Shanghai for 1 day. It's not easy. 82% of the world is in a chronic shortage of blood. In a lot of places, well, it's proven that 1% of the world population needs to donate blood to maintain the basic minimal medical needs. In a lot of developing countries, it's only 0.4% of the population that donate blood. It is estimated that in 1,000 population people, only 10 to 30 people donate blood as per the WHO. So what does that mean? 5 million people die every year from accidental or non-accidental causes. Of those 5 million, one third will have died in the first 48 hours because of lack, or rather from bleeding of blood, from bleeding. 16% of those people could have been saved with proper management of blood. So it's a pretty grim story, okay? Right. So this is me. After all that data, I'm Dr. Maskay. I'm a community give back activist. I'm a surgeon at Shanghai United Family Hospital. I'm also a blood donor and a volunteer. I'm a father. I'm a husband. And my story is this, okay? My story starts with me as a child. This is my father. He was a lung specialist. He came back to Nepal, started working, and as a young child, very young, I used to follow him to his clinic, holding his hand, sitting in a corner. And now I think back, that's pretty scary. He was a tuberculosis doctor, and he would take me to his work. As he examined his patients, sometimes he would charge the patients, but some patients he would not charge them. In fact, he would go down to the pharmacy, buy medications, bring it up, give it to the patient for free. He's actually paying out of his pocket. One day I asked him, what makes you decide to charge some patients but not the others? And he would reply to me and say, it's looking beyond yourself, out to the community. If this patient is wearing very torn out undergarments, doesn't look like he's got a good social status, I don't charge them. I try to help them. I thought, wow, my dad, he's a good man. I have to learn from him. So this planted a seed of kindness in my heart. And next, I went to a Jesuit school, a Catholic school, where social service was a very big part of what we did. Okay, I volunteered in a children's hospital, and a part of the project was raising money, donating blood, raising food for all those that could not afford. And in the process, my first ever blood donation happened where I was scared. I just turned 18 and donated my blood. I took my blood donation card, cycled back home, and I was very afraid to tell my parents. So I hid my blood donation card under my bed. A few months later, my mom found it, and she summoned me and she's like, did you donate blood? I was like, yeah. It's like, then you got to tell me. This is a good thing to do. So that's where my first blood donation happened. And the feeling I had after that blood donation was, I'm a superhero. I've saved the world. And coming to the next one was after my MBBS, my undergrad, after my graduations. I was doing my internships. I was placed in a pediatric surgery unit. So there was a small child we were operating upon. And the child was losing blood. Back in those days, the parents had to come and replace the blood by donating. So we called the parents, and I could see that the mom and the dad, they were both very underweight. So I asked my mentor, can I go and donate for this child? And with a smile, he said, of course, yes. So that's what I did. I descrubbed. I went down to the blood bank. I donated blood. I came back and scrubbed into surgery again. That feeling was unbeatable. There was this kid, my blood, and my actions have saved someone today. Then going forward, that's me giving my love to this child. Going forward, all the way then into China, I arrived in 2003. And it was a good number of years later, 7 years later, that I came out of my surgery. I was a practicing surgeon then. Then I saw a blood donation event happening in our hospital. So I just walked in and started donating blood, not thinking much. It was my first ever blood donation in Shanghai. Little did I know that I was the first person to donate blood that day. So there was a lot of media taking pictures and a lot of people asking questions. But I felt good, and I was like, wow, the blood donation is pretty organized as well. And in the process, some people from the Shanghai Blood Center asked me, would you like to volunteer with us? We've got to change the whole mindset towards blood donation. Can you help? And I was like, absolutely, let's try it. So as a part of my first project, we went to People Square, where I was assigned to have people make a little petition on a ward, supporting blood donations. I could see everyone was running away. There were hardly 5% of the people that are passerbys that stopped by to donate blood or to make a signature. And it's not even about blood donations, just the support. So I thought, this is very strange in a big city like Shanghai. I am going to make it my mission in Shanghai to change that concept. Next, over 6 years later, there was a girl visiting from France who had come to visit her boyfriend. And at that time, I was still in general surgery. So this girl had a road traffic accident. She tore her liver inside the body. So she was bleeding out internally. So we took her to surgery, and I knew she was O negative blood. Now, O negative, as you have to understand, in China is very rare. Any rhesus negative blood type for that matter. 3 in 1,000 Chinese people have negative blood types. Very rare. So they call it the panda blood. So as we walked into the surgery, I reached out to my friend circle and I said, if you're O negative, please come and help. This girl is going to need blood. During surgery, my phone started ringing over and over and over and over again. To a point, I had to give it to a nurse. Of course, I was scrubbed in, and the nurse was responding. We had over 80 calls that day, all total strangers, willing to come and help this girl. So that gave me an idea. She survived. She's now back in France, very happy. But I thought, wow, Shanghai, China, and this world for that matter, is a pretty beautiful place. People are looking out for each other. So why not create a support system where we can be there for each other in times of need? And that's what happened. And we just gathered over cups of coffee, and we said, guys, let's make a difference. It may be a small change, but we can do something for Shanghai. So that was our first ever meeting. We designed our logos. We designed our code of conduct. We designed things we're going to do. And thus came the growth of Bloodline, the birth of Bloodline. And today is 6 people, all working people. None of them are working fully as Bloodline, just volunteers, makes Bloodline run. Okay? I'm very, very lucky to be supported by each and every one of them. And so, why do we do blood donations? Why is it so important? Why is blood so important? A story in Puto Hospital. A young mother had her child, So every year we do these events in the children's hospital where we're trying to support these kids. So when we were in the leukemia ward and we were singing for them, a young mother came and said, in the very short life of my kid, my 1-year-old child, the doctors have given them a few more weeks. This is perhaps the best day of his life. And we so hugged, stood in a circle around the kid and the mother, hugged each other, and we knew what we had to achieve. When my daughter was 5 years old, she developed a lump on her head. The surgery went bad, and we were transferred to another hospital. This is the same hospital where I was trying to create a blood donation campaign for the kids. So I was facing these kids on a daily basis and their parents. And imagine my anger and my frustration when I find me and my family and my daughter in the same situation. Shev, surgery, looking at cancer possibly in the prospects. The day we had the event for the blood donation, like today, I was standing on the stage on the opening speech. No words came out of my mouth. It was terrible. I thought, this is the life or the experience of a mother or the father of a child who's suffering. So I knew for me, children could be the core focus. And then came our many, many, many activities. We believe in solidarity. We believe in expressing ourselves. We believe in making it big. We believe in helping the community. And then next came, now we have 5,000 donations. We have thousands of units of blood we have collected from 68 countries and over 60 events. And it's growing. Then came the bloodline why. Young minds, young blood, young hearts, all young people like you, walking in the steps of bloodline. Okay? 13 international schools have joined, and they are making a difference. They are learning to become leaders. They are learning to look beyond themselves out to the community. Especially these four have made a big difference, and they continue to lead. This is the future of bloodline. So as I sit on the window, overlooking my balcony again, the sounds I hear are the birds and the squirrels, but more so, I hear the sound of a child whose mother is bleeding after delivery. I hear the cries of the little girl who's undergoing chemotherapy. I hear the cries of the family whose dad is in surgery after a road traffic accident. I hear the cries of the shattered dream. And more so, I hear my own cry when my daughter was 5 years old. So, why do we do what we do? Because we have learned to look beyond ourselves. We've learned to pick up the pieces and help keep dreams alive. We have learned to build a bridge because no one should ever suffer from a lack of blood. So I request all of you, sit down in a corner, take a deep breath, look into yourself, look beyond. You'll hear these voices. Every one of you have so much capacity to give back to the community. And in 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 15 years from now, what footprints have you left behind? And finally, if you have got blood, you surely must have a heart. Thank you so much.